Russia used Trump's naive intelligence sharing to try to assassinate Chechen dissidents in Europe, sources say.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russia routinely exploited a U.S. policy of increased information sharing to target Chechen dissidents, according to 3 law enforcement and intelligence officials in Europe. Sources told Insider Russia routinely sought information on its targets of choice, dissidents who fled the rule of Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov. It is an open secret that Russia pursues Chechen dissidents and kills them, and sometimes seeks Western help in doing so. The officials Insider spoke with confirmed the existence of the modern-day U.S.-Russian arrangement after a former U.S. intelligence official described it on the Just Security blog. The sources said most of the information that came from the Russians as help were thinly veiled requests for information on the whereabouts of Chechen and other Muslim Russian dissidents. A French police source told Insider, "The Russians regularly abuse the process of sharing information by spamming us with notices about people they know perfectly well are under police protection because of their threats." The NATO official said Russia volunteered little useful information on Russians fighting in Syria, despite more of its citizens fighting in that war than any non-Arab nation.
This post received a score of 73,000, with an upvote ratio of 85%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Naive or beholden or under duress?
One thing is certain, the utter, unfathomable lengths he's gone to in defending Russia do not compute in any other scenario, even for the narcissist he is. He offered support for Russian wildfires in Siberia while ignoring those in the U.S. He offered Russia ventilators while downplaying supplies for COVID-19 in the U.S. His DOJ has dropped charges against the 13 Russian nationals. He follows Russian propaganda techniques and targets common cultural divides that Russia invokes. Manafort Russian connections, Flynn Russian connections, he has McConnell and the GOP lockstep in blocking election security against Russia.
A friend of mine put it like this: "It's so hard to tell exactly what is going on, because if you were a willing Russian asset, you would never do such brazenly obvious things because it would give it away, and yet many of these things you would never do unless you were a willing Russian asset." I suppose the third choice is, he correctly guessed that nothing would be done about it, and thus does not care.
I think it's more than Russia has some life-ruining dirt on him, the Steele dossier says underage watersports tapes. That would fit the bill, and Trump will do literally whatever he can to please Putin out of sheer terror that he'll misstep and be exposed. He doesn't have any specific directive, just has been told, help the Kremlin or else, and he's frantically doing whatever he can to abide by that.
Clear evidence that Russia stole the 2016 election for him. Or clear evidence that his fortune has been propped up by Russian mafia for decades, and continues to be so. Or something else that directly attacks his ego or calls his worldview into question. He couldn't care less about a video of sex acts he watched, directed, or even participated in.
I mean honestly, it's probably a snowball, right? Originally money, loans back to like the 80s, 90s, then maybe waterworks, then maybe stealing election.
I vote for the PP tape. Everything else he would likely shrug off. The only way to actually get to him would be through an assassination of character like that would do. He ain't, was it Duarte the one that asked for his blackmail tape to have it broadcast on TV as a badass? There's no way he'd recover from a P-tape.
His idiot fan base would just call it a fake.
This 100%. Anyone who thinks a sex tape could bring him down doesn't understand how the brain of a Trumpist works.
Anyone with a functioning brain at this point shouldn't be a trumpet.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.